All right. Welcome everybody to episode 90 of the Gecko Pod. 10 away from 100. We're almost there, AJ.
We're almost
Yeah,
there.
we're almost there. We are a podcast for the gecko community where we talk about the hobby and business of breeding geckos. We talk about the nuances of the market, the community, business aspects, husbandry, morphs, all the various things that we all nerd about. So today we have kind of a unique topic. We've talked about this a little bit before, AJ, but now we're kind of focusing just on this topic for
Yeah.
a short-ish episode. And
Yeah.
what are we talking about today?
Yeah. So I think you and I were talking a little bit the past couple days about just differences in the hobby, big differences in the hobby that have changed since maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, even when I started breeding crested geckos or keeping crested geckos to now, and
Yeah.
what those differences are, and why I think, kind of the teaser at the beginning, I think it's the best time in the hobby ever from all of the tools and morphs and opportunities that we have as breeders and hobbyists now. It's the most exciting time that I've ever seen. So I
Yeah.
wanted to kind of focus on like the things that I see that are like, oh my gosh, like this is so helpful and cool and all of these things that have changed for the better over the years. So
Right. So I've been here for 4 seasons now, and you've been here for what, 10, 15?
yeah,
Many
I mean
seasons,
seasons. I don't know. Yeah, 20.
years. Yeah. So we'll just
Yeah.
say you have a pretty good insight into kind of what the beginnings of the hobby up to now. So what I see when I came in 4 years ago, in 2001, and it was COVID times. So I'm like a COVID enterer, COVID breeder, as a bunch of us are, and we kind of seen various aspects of the advancement, even within the short 4 years I've been here. The pricing was at its peak. The market was crazy, and now it's it's swinging back to what you say is normal, right, AJ? Because you've seen things that pricing that was even more, I would call it primitive from
I
before.
mean, I can just tell you from, so I'll give you a kind of a rewind. Prior to 2000, and I feel like the real, like where I saw the ramp starting to increase was like 2014 was a pretty big year. And the
What
reason why
year again?
2014 was a big,
2014.
was a
Okay.
big, so I'll say prior to 2014, most high-end animals, air quotes, high-end animals,
Yeah.
I'd say often would not sell for more than like $400. That
Okay.
was like the top of that was like the
What
top of the price range for most crested geckos.
were lily whites out yet?
No.
Okay. Okay.
It was around then when they came out.
Got it.
I think I got mine in like either 2014 or 2015.
Okay.
But we weren't selling lily whites yet.
Yeah.
But at that point, I remember the stuff that was expensive was like red harlequins, maybe a really loaded super dowel, full quad stripe pinstripes.
Mm.
Tricolors were starting to gain price increases. But really, what the catalyst was that started driving pricing up was Korea started buying in 2014.
Okay. Okay.
So I remember because that was right after I got out of college, and um, I was just getting hit up by people in Korea all the time wanting to basically buy my entire availability list,
Mm.
and like almost sight unseen, like how many males, how many females, what's the price?
We'll
What's
buy
the
it.
price for all of
Yeah.
them? You give them a price, okay, we'll take them, and
Wait. Wait.
it was
Okay.
crazy. I mean, it was
When
like
did Don bring? So he brought some geckos into Korea as well, right?
before that.
Okay. Gotcha.
Definitely before that, I believe.
So he
This
introduced kind of the gecko thing, and it kind of spiked. And in 2014, 2015 is when they started hitting U.S. breeders up for availability.
for they wanted like, I mean, they definitely were asking for specific things, but it was much more general. So it
Okay.
started where it was like, okay, we want any pins, pinstripes, full pinstripes, any reds, any
Mm.
tricolors, any like, and you could send them a list, males, females, and it just seemed like they would buy anything.
Okay.
It was crazy. They'd just buy anything that you would show to them.
Mm.
And then, so that drove pricing up. Like I feel like 2014, 2015, it drove the US pricing up too, because stuff was just getting kind of like swallowed up into Korea. And
Yeah.
so you would see animals that used to go for $200 were now $600 in the US. And like I feel like the price just like tripled for a minute there. It was very interesting.
Mm.
And then after that, you started seeing, fast forward a couple years, Korea started being like, send me a list of all the photos. And
Yeah.
then you send them a list, and then they'd want to buy only the females out of the list. They'd buy all
Mm.
the females, but they'd only buy the females.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
so it kind of like it went up, and that just started kind of like more and more selective, only females, only the nicest animals. And then they wanted 30% discounts, and it just kind of kept like,
Yeah.
and then eventually Korea mostly dried up as far as sales from here to Korea.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's kind of a brief history of, prior to that, animals were always affordable, $75, $100, $150. That was kind of the standard pricing. And I feel
Yeah.
like we saw kind of almost like a COVID bubble when Korea was buying anything and everything for a couple years there. Not to the same level of pricing. I don't think anybody was selling $10,000 animals in
Yeah.
2015,
Yeah.
but the demand was really high. Demand
Got
was
it.
high. Pricing wasn't crazy high, but demand was very high.
Got it. And obviously, you guys had a lot less breeders, buyers back then.
Yeah, I would say that there was some big players. Like if you think about, I'm sure like Northern Gecko had a lot of animals, and AC Reptiles probably had a lot, and I don't know how much Pangea would have had at that time. Probably a decent amount, but not nearly what they have now. But for the most part, the other breeders, like I think at that point, I maybe had like 20 breeder females,
Okay.
and I was on like the larger side for a hobbyist.
Mhm.
So most hobbyists were much smaller back then compared to now.
Okay. That's interesting. The shift of like a hobbyist is now has like 50, 50
Yeah,
breeders.
where that would have been, you would have been like the largest, the largest breeder outside of like a major company
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the country with like
That's
50
interesting.
adult females in 2014. Like I'd
Yeah.
say most
Yeah.
people that were thought to be like at the top as far
Mm.
as like influence or whatever, I swear some of them had like 15 females.
Yeah.
It's
That's
crazy.
funny. Yeah. So
Just
it is
a
cool to see.
much different level as far
Yeah.
as quantities and
The landscape is definitely different now. Now it's like we have like so many breeders, a lot of animals being cranked out, and it's a different game now in terms of, I guess making yourself known in the hobby, and developing your business. Do you feel like back then a lot of people were hobbyists, but not, and this they just went to shows, had like a mini side hustle, but they were not a lot of people were there to formulate an actual business to.
I'd say most people were not trying to run a business back then.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we see a lot more of that nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still actually have a lot of hobbyists, majority
sure.
of people, but we do see a lot more people like doing 3D prints and selling various products, and trying to present as a legitimate business, and like you and I are also that in the sense that we try to be a little bit more professional with some of our sales and kind of how we present. So
Yeah.
um,
Well, I mean, you look at now how many new people, they've never sold anything before and they have an LLC. Where 20 years ago, none of us had any sort of business structure, an LLC or anything,
now,
So
now it's in our screening. Now it's in our handle.
it just shows like the intentions. like a lot of people, I think these days are drawn by the business aspect of it,
Yeah,
where
I think so.
it
Yeah,
was where before it was like, oh, I love breeding these geckos, and sometimes I sell a few, and it pays for me to buy a couple more for myself, and
yeah,
that was more what it was. It's like,
just fun.
yeah, sell one, buy another one, and it was just kind of like a hobby for most of us back then.
Yeah. Do you like that the way that it's moved in terms of the development of how things are now in the hobby for
Um,
that particular aspect of it?
I mean, I can't say that I don't like it because I benefit from it from the fact that it's my profession. So obviously that's, I enjoy that there's a landscape that I can do this as my career, which is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Um, yeah, no, I mean, I think that there's pros and cons to both. Like you said, like when we had done polls and stuff before, it
mm-hmm.
seemed like a good amount of the people that even watch the Gecko Pod are hobbyists.
Obvious. Yeah, there's like
So
90% or something. Yeah,
I think we're deep steeped in the world of kind of the business
business.
of breeding
Yeah,
geckos, but
yeah,
a lot of people are hobbyists, and that's great. I mean, that's awesome.
yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean it's so, but yeah, we do see a lot of like more marketing and business type of people coming into the hobby, and a lot of people even with their we kind of make fun of their IG handles with LLC at the end. We're like, I forget who it was. It's like, you guys, you don't need LLC in your handle. I think it's like Robbie or something. He's like, just be Zero's Geckos. You don't have to put LLC at the end.
You can have an
Yeah,
LLC and not tell everybody no.
that's
It's
funny.
fine, whatever.
Yeah. No, anyway, we're just making fun of that. But yeah, it's yeah, it's interesting to see how that has developed. Um, so with kind of the that shift in the landscape in the marketplace, have we seen other advancements in terms of husbandry? The Gen X will come anyway. That doesn't affect it. But
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about husbandry. How has the business aspect, if it has, or just the current way of movement of where we're at now, how has husbandry advanced? And then we'll talk about a few other things.
Well, I can just say, like, I remember when I first started keeping geckos, I don't know, I don't think anyone when I first started, say 2005, 2006, anybody that I knew was keeping geckos, hatchling geckos in like rack systems.
Okay. Yeah.
So I remember Derek Dunlop, he was using a similar rack that AC was using. I forget who made it. Maybe Doug Barr made them, but
Mm-hmm.
it was like this shelf rail system that you could slide critter keepers into. So imagine kind of like, the Korean style
Yeah, the floating ones.
yeah, the like
Yeah.
floating bins, like kind of like a critter keeper like slid into rails. There was people that had those, but imagine they were so expensive relative to, you're probably spending 25, $30 a slot. I mean, it was so
Wow,
expensive. But if you
that's
think about
crazy.
back then,
Yeah.
people didn't have nearly as many animals either.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, $20 to $35 a slot. That's crazy. Like
well, because
I
you
mean,
also
we're
have to buy a critter keeper, which are what, seven, eight,
$5.
$10. I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't bought one
yeah.
in a long time, so don't quote
Kind
me
of the
on that.
rack systems that we have now, including the vent and bin, and kind of the cost of the
Yeah, you're probably
material.
like
We're like, oh,
$12,
yeah, around
$13
10,
in.
$12 is a good fair price,
Yeah.
per slot. So,
So I would say majority of people, I think the people were using rack systems like ARS racks
mm,
or Freedom Breeder type stuff for snakes.
yeah.
But rack systems in their traditional form were not being utilized for crested geckos. They were being utilized for some desert species, maybe leopard geckos, well, almost definitely leopard geckos, um, knobtail geckos, things like that. But I just feel like they were not being used much for crested. So
Mm,
it was very labor intensive for a majority of people. Lidded bins, um, yeah, just not a lot of, everybody was soldering. I don't even people weren't even really using vents. Really back
Wow.
then, it
Okay.
was like so
That,
everybody would like solder holes, so you'd have to open the bin to spray it. And
that's interesting. I did want to ask you about that. When did the
I,
vents? When were the vents made popular? Because I know you sell a version of the vents, but when did people start putting
like
like?
the tab style vents.
Yeah. When did people
I
start putting?
honestly, it's hard for me. All of this is like so hard to remember timeline, but I would imagine it was around the timeline of when people started using shoe boxes seriously. Like I probably have
Okay.
photos back to maybe like 2012
Yeah.
where I started using like rack systems and vents. And I took most of my, at least in that era, I took most of my care advancement um, learnings from Gilpin's from LAC.
Okay.
So they were always kind of like a couple years ahead of me as far as making those moves, um, moving to a lidless system
Yeah.
with vents, moving, misting systems, different things. They were always, I still, Andrew and I talk all the time, but I feel like Andrew's always like trying to be kind of on the front end of advancing kind of
Yeah.
care and optimizing for his stuff. So
Yeah. What was he? Were the Gilpin's engines here one of the ones to first install their misting systems?
they might have been the first ones to get that the misting system that I have and that
Yeah.
Gilpin's have, and a handful like Doug Ridiculous Racks has one. A bunch of people
The
have them.
sundown.
Yeah. So, um, yeah. So Ryan Turnquist makes that misting system. The Hydro Herp misting system is what
Mm,
it's called. And Andrew, I think, was the first one to have it and like truly have like a full install on that.
okay. Wow. Yeah.
So
So I
he
the,
he
the
had it a couple years before me, I believe so.
yeah, I think you guys are. I mean, you definitely need a bigger collection and enclosure system to make it worth it, right? To install that
It
misting system.
depends. I mean, he's working on stuff that's more like consumer level, but
Okay.
for the type of thing that we have, that's like customized, like very modular,
Yeah.
large system. Yeah, you probably need a decent amount of cages.
Yeah. Because I imagine like I have a lot of animals, but then a lot of these things are like I do have a lot of container store bins, and do they have systems? You guys have
Andrew
is there a
has it
misting system?
installed. I'm gonna install them on mine.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So we
Yeah, I gotta.
actually, and you probably have never seen this, but we have that jig to drill the vent for the large like it container store tubs for
I
the.
actually have that. You sent me one.
So the jig,
Yeah.
the top hole of the jig is actually, if you put it in the back of the tub, is to drill
Oh, I see.
the
I
bulkhead
see.
for the spray nozzle.
Not just to center the vent itself, but
Yeah,
for
it's
the
got
back
two
of it.
holes. It's got the vent hole
Um,
and it's got the mist hole.
so you have
So
to drill that in both the drawer bin and also the back of the bin enclosure, the shell.
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, yep,
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, just I think just the advancement in like the caging and not just like I was even thinking about like the exoterras. So when I first started,
Yeah.
there really wasn't even, at least in my area, I had never seen like a front opening. I wonder when the tanks that are behind you, what year those were actually invented.
Exoterrace.
Because
Let me look it up real quick while you talk.
I don't even know when the first year of those front opening glass tanks was. So when I first started keeping crested geckos, I kept them in 10-gallon tanks with tipped on their end, so vertically, and then I had like clips to hold my screen tops when they were tilted up. So I had
That's
like
funny.
a clip to
Yeah.
hold it so it wouldn't open. And so I just had 10-gallon tanks stacked like that with vertical, just normal screen tops, but I had a clip to hold it on when it was vertical.
Exoterra's innovative design introduced around 2007.
Okay. Well, yeah, I started in 2005. So,
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
but then an interesting thing. So I was going to say a small advancement is that a lot of those first Exoterras, they didn't make them with stainless steel screen, so they all rusted out.
Oh man, I mean, I have some of these. I bought a bunch of these
You buy
used.
some like locals and they
Yeah,
rust.
so these were like old, so like some of the latches are broken and stuff. But I was like, oh, let me save some money when I was first starting, and then all the tops, some of the tops are like rusted out.
Yeah. So I don't remember. It was maybe like 5 years ago or so. They
Yeah,
moved it's either stainless or it's aluminum. I think it's stainless. But
yeah,
it's just stuff like that where like small improvements where people, if you came in now, you wouldn't you haven't had to go through any of those pains of, oh, I bought all these cages and they all rusted out,
if
or
anybody wants to buy my old enclosures locally,
but
I
I
don't do.
think about how many. I was telling my dad the other day, I'm like, man, it's crazy to think how many variations of caging I have gone through and like changed.
Yeah.
Like if you think about how many different glass or plastic or PVC iterations I've probably, for my adult cage, I've probably had like 15 different things that my adults have lived in 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, because each couple years it seems like something else comes out that's a little better, you know,
Yeah, that's interesting.
and
Yeah, so now,
solves one of your complaints of the last thing you're using. So
so I know a bunch of you guys a few years ago started using the PVC enclosures.
yeah,
Tristan, Gecko Junkie, like that was like kind of a big thing.
yeah.
And then now people are shifting kind of away from that, or what
It
is?
seems like it. I mean, I see people say, I don't know why. You know, I know why and I don't know why, but I see a lot of people selling their PVC enclosures and going to the Container Store bins with vents in them,
Hmm.
basically.
I did. I mean, I do. So the container store bin system, I do find that it's very convenient. Like the way
Yeah.
that it closes, the way that it opens, it's like so easy and smooth, and
It's
it's
very modular.
it's modular. It's like it's pretty safe. Nothing has ever like pushed out. Um, I don't know. It just seems like
I
a
think
very
the
good.
reason why a lot of people are using it, I think the big draw to it is that it's it is not a commitment where, like, if you bought PVC, oh well, I got to get my PVC delivered,
Mm,
you know, so I got to buy a lot at once. So you're looking at thousands and thousands of dollars of one-time investment, and it's just a big commitment. Where I feel like now in the state of the hobby, where you don't see people selling $30,000 xanthics and stuff,
yeah,
you
yeah.
probably don't want to go out and drop thousands of dollars willy nilly. So it's nice to be able to go, oh, I want 10 Container Store tubs. Okay, that's going to be $320 shipped, and they're going to show up in two
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, it's like
And
$40 to $50
but
for
they're
whatever
always
people want.
25% off.
Yeah.
So
Make sure you buy on
you
sale.
buy those tubs, they come in, you put some ventilation in them,
Yeah.
and then, oh man, I need five more. Hop on the website 2 days later, five more.
They come in, they're
Oh,
broken.
they're broken. You get five free ones. Now you got 10 for the price of five.
I remember when
Uh,
Robbie told us that when on his episode that we
it's
had him on.
100% true.
He's like, "Yeah, you order these things, and they're like half of them are broken, and you just replace them." Oh
It's 100% true.
my gosh, that's
That's
funny.
true. But I mean, I think I understand why they've gained so much traction, that tub, because of just
Mm,
how approachable they are to people that are new and people that have been
yeah,
around forever.
I mean,
So,
if you're gonna spend $40 for an adult enclosure,
with
basically an
event,
adult enclosure as
yeah,
opposed to $140 for a PVC or Exoterra, that's $120
and
or
they're heavy,
like
you can't move them.
heavy. Well, yeah, the one that I have that I got from Herb Cole are acrylics. They're 1219s, and those are light, but then they're also $130 for
Yeah,
this 1219 enclosure, and they look really cool. And I know that I think it was Herb Time uses them. He always has them decked out on his shows in California, and they look really nice. And so I guess it depends on the vibe you're going for, the look you're going for in your room. So container bins are useful for us because we breed a lot of animals, but for other people, hobbyists, maybe the PVC enclosures still look great, or the acrylic enclosures, or the exoterras. So,
but
but
I'll say this, I have heard this feedback, and I've heard this
yeah,
feedback from multiple people. But I was talking to a friend this week, and he was saying this. Like he was saying, since putting animals in like the container store tubs, he feels somewhat of a loss of connection or
Yes,
like
yes.
looking at the animals.
Yeah,
And so that also is something to keep in mind where it's like when you have a glass enclosure, I feel like you get to see the animal more
yeah.
consistently without being intentional about it.
Yep.
Where once you put them in a drawer system, you have to be intentional about like taking them out and like looking at them and
Yeah. Yeah. So
because
when I
it's
come into this room, I have a wall of acrylics over here, and I just walk by and you see all your animals. So it does make a difference. And on the opposite side of that, there are the container bins, right? And so, so you kind of I get kind of the, okay, I'm have a lot of breeding females and groupings, but on the other side, you can kind of put your nicer animals, like, so it's one of those things where it's not for everybody, but there's
yeah,
options basically.
there's pros and cons, but now we have options. Where
We have
before it was
options.
like 10 gallon tank, rusty Exoterra, you know, there wasn't a lot of a Stairlight bin with a lid.
Yeah. So when I came in, I remember that I was like, man, and I saw your setup, I saw Gabby's setup, and I was like, dang, these like PVC'd out these gecko chunky things, and I was looking to drop like a ton of money just to do like a similar setup, and then that's before everybody had container bins, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then that came around, and I was like, oh wow, this is. I mean, it's so much easier to do it like that.
You also didn't have like a great supplier out where you were.
Correct. Yeah. So like to
So
fly.
that probably slowed you down a little bit.
Yeah, the PVC to fly out here would be like insane, like the
Yeah.
the Gecko chunky enclosure. So I
Or
looked at it. I
you have to
actually,
buy from Tamora or whatever.
yeah, yeah. And tomorrow I looked at it. Like the inquiries to PVC for Gecko chunky was like way too much to ship over here. Tamura stuff is like very expensive. Like even though I think he's in SoCal, but I was like, as a new breeder, I was like, I can't drop that money on the Tamura.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. So
Yeah.
anyway, cool. Yeah, new options now for
Yeah.
husbandry.
And then missing systems and even goofy things like I remember like even seeing when like I met you and you guys had like kind of your wave of breeders were using like those like Ryobi sprayers,
Yeah,
like those
yeah,
like powered sprayers. I'm like in 20 years I've never had a powered sprayer. I've always had like a pump bottle,
yeah.
like a like
That's so
a
funny.
bottle you buy at the garden center and you
Yeah,
pump them. They break every like 2 weeks and you have to buy another one and
it's funny now, and I say this all the time, but not now. I just use these. I absolutely love these for my entire
that's
collection.
awesome.
This
That's
is the
awesome.
more advanced version that Alex told me about.
Wow, that
You can
thing is
spray upside down. You can spray sideways.
wow. That's the deluxe. That's not the $5. That's the $8
I
model.
mean, I have like a ton of $5 ones, the $3 ones around, but this is the $7 one.
Dang,
Dude, I love this thing.
that's awesome.
Save your money. You don't need to buy any powered stuff. Just use this. I use this for everything.
But I will say, I could not do what I do without my powered spray wand.
Yeah, yeah.
I
You
could
have your
never.
whole system. Yeah,
Yeah, my missing system and stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah. I think you're definitely not like most people.
yeah,
Your system is very
yeah.
advanced.
I have a little bit different needs than the average person, but
Yeah,
another thing is so continuing just affordable supplies. Like I
yeah.
remember basically everybody would buy plants from Hobby Lobby and cut them up, or they'd go buy like a fake ficus tree off Facebook or not Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and cut it up. And um, it was just now we have all these plastic plant options. We have all these different dishes, ledges, hide boxes,
Yeah.
even like access to all these different plastic or compostable or whatever, all these
Mm.
different food dishes.
A lot of people
The
do the 3D prints of like
the
various
the, th-
accessories.
the fact that 3D printing now exists, it's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, and then vents, like we have all these different like vent options, which is awesome
Mm.
too. So it's just cool. It's cool that you can kind of create your own adventure as far as what you want your setups in your rooms and
Yeah.
everything to look like. And now like the huge rise and also like isopod availability and like bioactive supplies available. So if you want to do bioactive, you can just hop on your computer and buy leaf litter of any kind you want, moss, soils, charcoal, isopods, springtails. It's crazy.
Were back in like the early days of when you started, was was there availability with shipping feeders, crickets, dubia, mealworms?
Yeah, there
Okay,
was.
okay. So there's always been that.
Yeah,
Okay.
there was that. But I will say that it was much more. It was not as nearly as streamlined, and I feel like you kind of had to buy them from whatever your most regional location was. Like I bought them from somewhere in Indiana. I lived in Illinois, and if I tried to buy them from somewhere else, it was just way too expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're kind of regionally locked, which is still somewhat the case.
Somewhat of the case, yeah.
But it's better.
The bulk pricing's a little bit better now. The shipping's slightly better. Yeah.
Yeah. Who are you getting crickets from now?
I'm getting them from Timberline.
Timberline.
Yeah, Timberline does the brown crickets though. They die super fast. Timberline doesn't watch this, so they don't care.
Feed them fast.
So yeah, I get them every week though, and then I just feed them fast. So I feed them within a few days. They're all gone. So I dialed it in to do that. But
you just feed them you get them in on like Tuesday and feed them like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they're gone.
Yeah. But the shipping is pricey still. Like I have them overnight shipped for like $45 to California, and it's expensive. But the bulk pricing on that has it's like $8-9 for 1,000. Whereas like if you buy it from Top Hat or Pangea or Josh's, it's like anywhere from $18 to $20 for 1,000 or something like that. So it's kind of like the pros and cons of figuring out the pricing of shipping versus the 1,000 count. But Pangea is cheaper than Timberline for their shipping, but they don't overnight ship. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean,
just options, more options.
That stuff is awesome, just having all those options. And then, I mean, a big thing, and you can probably speak a little bit to this because you got to see the rise of all of this.
Yeah.
But just all the new genetic traits and morphs and combos that have popped. I mean, you got to kind of see. You got to see because when you started, was there even caps yet?
It was not popular yet. It was just coming in because remember, I know with Janine at Treehouse, then her caps fraps were becoming very popular.
Before, because but they didn't even know that what she was just selling them as like cool lilies. She made fraps.
Yeah, so I know like Cryptile's got this thing named Starbucks, and that was a frap, and that was one of the first fraps I've seen. What's that?
And nobody knew that was a frap when he bought it.
Yeah, they didn't even know it was a frap until like it was identified, and so that was the first frap I saw was that Cryptile's Gecko.
Yeah,
and
I remember that too.
So everyone was trying to get their hands on one, and then the whole cap thing was started to flood in terms of popularity. But obviously, these things were around for a while. We just didn't know, right?
Yeah, yeah, they were around for a long time. But as far as when they were identified, so it's so crazy to think that in 4 seasons, like Cap, Sables, Hypos, Chochos. I mean, Xanthic has gained so much popularity. I would say that Xanthic was kind of like underground, not really popular prior to 4 years ago.
Yeah, because when we bought our Xanthics at the height of the price of when they were very popular. They're just getting very popular, right?
Yeah.
And then Ryan Butler, he had them for a while, but then he started to move.
But I didn't know anyone that had them prior to.
That's interesting.
2021.
Wow, yeah. I mean, that's interesting.
Like nobody I knew had an Xanthic.
We should ask Butler about how that trickle rollout came out.
Or maybe he just sold hats, or maybe he was just hoarding them up to that point.
I mean, he did have that payday.
He just didn't really. Maybe he just didn't really release them until he just had so many of them. I don't know.
Yeah, he definitely he probably nest egged a ton of them, and then he did take his payday with the Xanthic Lily White Korea massive $500,000.
Yeah,
the
it's
sale, and
crazy.
he talked about it, so it's not a secret, right? So
Yeah, I mean, I witnessed it when I was in Vegas. I was like, wow,
yeah,
this
he
is
was there
crazy.
doing it, right? The exchange went down. With did they have briefcases with
No, yeah, they had like they had trench coats and no
machine guns?
bowler
We're
hats.
talking.
No.
That's funny. We're talking about half a mil. Where meanwhile, these like gangsters are moving like
Meanwhile, they're wearing like
hundreds of
$2 million
millions.
watches walking around.
Oh my gosh,
That's funny.
funny.
But yeah, just all these new. I think that that's super pop. I mean, super just encouraging. Like I think
Yeah,
about I'm looking at like yeah, so sables, caps, lilies, the hypos, the axe, the chochos. How many of those things have not even been comboed yet?
Chocho has not. I mean, to our knowledge, has been comboed to too many things. I'm sure Korea
Yeah,
has stuff
you know,
going, but
even like I haven't seen anyone make like a pinky sable. I haven't seen one.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Different
yeah,
things like that where it's just like, oh, there's
yeah,
so many things that we haven't even seen made yet, which is awesome.
yeah. It's pretty
And
cool.
then they haven't even bred them to the base morphs. Like you haven't seen Phantom this or
Mm,
Tiger Phantom that or
yeah,
you know
I do.
insert kind of more base morphs plus modern morphs, change the base color. It's like man, nobody's made one of those.
Yeah, I do like that these morphs are a lot more accessible now in terms of
Yeah.
affordability, in terms of it's available in Chochos. Not very popular yet in America, just because Jordan has one that is breeding them and he's produced them. But other than that, we don't have a lot of people with them because they're still the price point's a little bit high. But besides that, sables are affordable, exantics, lilies are affordable. Caps, obviously, you can buy them for like 150 bucks or cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
or unless you go to Petco and find them for like 50 bucks. The Petco hunters. But yeah, it's interesting to be in this wave of in this new season of the hobby because of all the combos that we haven't even made yet and are about to make, right?
Yeah.
So it's exciting, man.
And then all the refinement, like thinking back on when we, 15 years ago or whatever, what we were all doing was like try to make the best pinstripe you can. Where now it's people are going to be like try to make the best sable you can.
Yeah,
It's just the new wave is that we have all these new genes to refine and work on and make look the way that we envision.
yeah,
So that's cool. It's just that the traits that we're working with now are different and more advanced and more stacked and more variable than we were in the past. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
cool. I mean, these days I feel like it's so exciting to hatch eggs because it's like, man, what am I gonna make? There's so many things you could make out of that
yeah.
egg.
And
You
then
know?
you have stuff that are like multiple generations of the stack trait. So
Yeah.
like one that a lot of us know is like the SPT.
Yeah.
Um, from is it Hong Kong? Is he
Reptile
the guy?
addiction, Hong Kong. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. Like, I mean, they look pretty cool in terms of just how developed they look. I mean, whether
Hmm.
they're ethically bred, I'm not no, we don't know, but 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 they look great.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
No, it's
yeah. So,
and
what are some other?
speaking on that though, I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't have noted to talk about this, but also how big of a difference. I mean, lineage is still something that people ask for,
Mm,
but I would say in the past, say a long time ago, and not even that long ago, 10 years ago, a lot of times people would buy animals purely like they buy 2 gram, 3 gram babies purely on just what the parents were or what one of the parents looked like. Oh, I gotta have insert. I gotta have a bloodbath baby. Oh, I gotta have a this, and they would pay like premium dollar just because it came from that animal.
mm.
Even if it didn't look anything like that animal, people still everybody kind of had this thought in their mind, well,
You should make
because
it.
it came from that one, in theory, it should carry that.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Even if it doesn't look like it at all.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is a black and white gecko, and I bought an offspring, and it's like a Halloween. Well, if I breed it to a black and white, I'm gonna make black and whites. It's like, no, you're not. But that was kind of the more old school mentality. Was always, it's about the lineage. It wasn't. It was never about genetics and like what traits they carried. It was just like,
Mm,
oh, 4 generations ago, a grandparent had
yes.
white spots. Maybe this one's babies will have white spots.
I was sold
Yeah.
that too when I first came into the hobby. So it was still like fairly prominent in terms of how the breeders and sellers were thinking because I got sold a bunch of animals that way. Um,
Yeah, but now I feel like it's not like that.
yeah, now we know a little bit better. I think. I mean,
And animals are being sold at a larger size where you can actually kind of identify what what they're going to look like generally.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, you'll at least know roughly what they're going to look like as an adult.
yeah,
So I like that. I think that that advancement of selling more based on what something is versus what it could be, I prefer that because I feel like
yeah,
you get less customers get burned and are disappointed, and yeah, I just think it's better for the hobby overall if the customer actually gets the thing that they are looking for.
right. Yeah,
So
I
I
agree
like
with
that.
that.
I like that change.
I agree. Yeah. Oh, it has this lineage. Oh, 10x markup.
But it's like I
No
mean
more of that.
I've even gotten to the point too where it's like you'll see me sell like you'll see me sell like a Felix Julia offspring that like didn't hit the things that I want, and
Yep,
I'll sell it for the price
20
of a
bucks.
normal Harlequin,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
because it's like, sure, I have sold ones from that pair for a lot of money, and like but if it doesn't hit the genes, then it's not. I don't know. I just don't feel like it should carry a premium.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and also have bred stuff out that have been sold certain things, and it doesn't it doesn't pan out. You have
Yeah.
to see what it looks like in terms of its what you see visually.
And
To know
obviously, you know, there's recessive traits, and
yes, yes, yes,
we're talking about things that are not recessive.
yes, correct.
So
Yeah, so, yeah. It's I do think that's a positive thing for our hobby.
yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah. What are some other things we're talking about? Advancements in the hobby. We can talk about the whole shipping landscape. We can talk about the whole diet landscape. We could talk about technology in terms of back then we didn't have these smartphones like we do now, and then we
Hmm.
can also talk a little bit about the selling avenues and how we're able to sell more. So we can
Oh,
some of those
yeah,
like briefly.
we can talk briefly about shipping, I guess. I
Okay.
mean, it was funny. I was saying to you the other day, I shipped a box and it was like $16.
Yeah.
It was just so cheap. And I said, I think this is the cheapest box in 20 years I've ever shipped. The fact that reptile shipping has gotten to such an accessible price point is awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I remember even like 3, 4 years ago, there was kind of this there was kind of this like pricing that was being held up by a handful of companies. So like even though I had a good deal, I remember I would ship a box to California and it would still be $80.
Mm.
And a lot of
And that,
times
that
that's
was not long ago. That was
not a
maybe
lot
like
3 years ago, 2, 3 years ago.
yeah.
And so thinking about now, if shipping becomes more accessible,
Mm.
then buying animals and selling animals becomes more accessible
That's true.
because
Yeah.
more of the funds that would be spent on shipping can now be spent on the animals, the husbandry, the care, the food, um, all of those different things.
Mm.
So if some of that money can be kind of allocated back towards what grows the hobby, I think that's super helpful.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. It
So
is interesting to see. the big shift, like even starting last year, with Morph Market and Redline, and yeah, it's interesting to see kind of the pricing. When I came in, it was the main shipper. Majority of people, at least Gecko people, they were shipping off of reptiles to you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, back then we were paying 80 to 90 plus dollars for one shipment, you know. And then Redline came in, we were paying like 70, 80, sometimes 60. And then Morph Market came in, and then we were
People were
paying
paying
30
70.
dollars. And then, but now that I think they've shifted the prices back up since,
Yeah.
for kind of their free tiers. But yeah, no, it's interesting to see that there are more options, and that it kind of has broken the veil of the general public to see that, like, oh, you don't have to ship an animal for $100. You can ship it for such and such price, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can basically it especially if you sell online, you're able to move more things, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, do you feel like there's yeah, I don't know. I guess we're so new into that aspect of shipping. It's still I still feel like it's a pretty
It's still moving. There's still like things
yeah
happening. There's room for education. There's room for innovation, and
yeah
in my opinion, in boxes and packing materials and all different things, and cryo packs, and all of
yeah.
those different things I feel like are kind of ripe for some innovation. So
Did a lot of people use cryo packs back then? Cryo packs the
um
brand, but the face packs, we'll call them face packs.
trying to think when that started. A lot of people didn't, at least with crested geckos, a lot of people just wouldn't ship crested geckos unless it was basically room temperature everywhere.
Oh, that's
So
not
imagine
possible.
if you hit me up and you're like, hey, I want to buy this gecko. I'd be like, great. I'll ship it to you. Like, what is it right now? It's July. I'll ship it to you in April.
October.
Or whatever.
October with this
Because we
1 week
have to
window.
because we have to find a spot where it's 75 here,
Mm,
75 in Indy and Memphis, and 75 where you live. And when is
yeah,
that? Okay, there's
yeah,
like 2 weeks a year. And so a lot of people would hold animals for a really long time
yeah,
before they would ship them. Where now it's like, I feel like people understand now that we have like thicker insulated boxes,
mm,
we have cryo packs, we have like gel ice packs,
mm,
um, all these different things. And now understanding why things get delayed and how to kind of avoid
right,
shipping when there's going to be delays. There's actually like a lot of these shipping companies put out warnings
right,
not to
right.
ship during this day because there's a storm that's going to hit Memphis or going to hit Indy.
Yeah,
All that stuff has made shipping easier, safer, and your window to ship has gotten much larger.
right. And kind of on the shipping side of, I'll speak on FedEx because we work with FedEx, but FedEx, they have like tools now where you have more insight into like possible delays weather-wise. Obviously, they can't control the delays that within kind of the if someone forgets a box or something, like one of the workers forgets a box. But
Or
in
if,
terms of
if a plane has a mechanical thing or
right, right.
stuff like that.
But there are tools now where we can see like, oh, heads up, there might be a delay on this day because of weather warnings and things like that. Um, so it gives us a little bit more of the tools to be aware of like more windows to ship in, and yeah. So I do feel like the shipping advancements has definitely improved um, for safer shipping, and the
Hmm.
education too, knowing where things travel, knowing that this hub at this time is safer to ship within these parameters, just kind of,
And
um,
now that we have somewhat real-time tracking, like
yes,
tracking has come such a long way like to know how long it's in each place. And if you ever like you and I obviously we talk to FedEx directly,
yeah,
but with kind of our stuff, it's incredible how much information they have. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
if you look at your tracking and it says, it went from here to here, well, FedEx has 10 more or 8 more data points in between that. So I remember I called one time just to show you how much, like if how much FedEx knows. It not always, but this is an example. I had somebody that was picking up at, I think they were picking up at like the closest spot to the Memphis hub. It was like they were picking up there, and it had said it was delayed, and it said that they weren't going to be able to get it till tomorrow. But it was at Memphis.
Mm.
And I called FedEx and I talked to my rep there, and I was like, "Hey, can you tell me what's going on with this?" He goes, "Oh, let me call the station manager." And then he says, "I can see," my guy was saying, "I can see on my end that it's in bin 37G. Let me call him and I'll have him pull it from 37G and I'll have him put it at the counter."
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy. They know so
Yeah.
much.
I mean, it is. So I do think that that's true. They have a lot of information on it.
They don't share it with you generally.
They don't share it to you, but also too, most people aren't going to give you that service to do that.
No.
Because it's very. I do feel like there's a lot of there are reliability issues, even though they know the information.
For sure. But yeah. I guess the moral of the story is that even just the fact that FedEx knows that information means that there probably is less delays, less hangups along the way, because they have so many data points to know where things are.
Yeah.
I remember boxes getting legitimately just disappearing. You'd ship a box, just never, they lose it, they never find it. I almost never hear of that anymore.
Yeah.
A box might get stuck somewhere for a day or two, but almost never does it completely disappear.
Yeah, they do have more data points. And another example is this is a quick one. A month or two ago, I shipped a package to a customer, and then it said delivered, right? And then the guy messaged me. He's like, "Hey, like it didn't arrive." I was like, "Oh, but it says delivered." He goes, "It's not here though." So he calls FedEx, and they say like, "Oh, okay, it went to the wrong house." I call FedEx, like we have like a number that we call, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, they missed this one," and then you can request that they go back and get it to fix it. So they put a case number on it, and they actually have a little bit more eyes on it. Not all with the time, but in general, I think that the fact that they do have more, like you said, more data points to figure out how and where these packages are, it does help a little bit. Even if they can't push a product or push the package to you quicker, you'll at least have a little bit of a peace of mind knowing that, okay, we at least know where it's at and it's coming.
And I can tell you, at least from working with my FedEx people, they have cameras on everything.
Oh, really?
Their trucks.
Yeah.
There's so many cameras on and even like footstep trackers to make sure they don't like hang out. I mean, it's crazy. They're like, it's like Amazon where they have so much monitoring on the drivers.
Big brother.
But with that, it's almost like they have body cams, right? I mean, with that, if something goes wrong, there's probably video of it.
Yeah.
And they can figure out, oh, where did I put that box? Oh, I put it at this address. Okay.
Yeah, and that's just a matter of tapping into it to like have them to fix it quickly. I think that's one of the problems.
But technology, I think, has helped the shipping industry up their service. What would the number or what would the word be? They're like their service percentage to completion, or their like lack of disruptions or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that's just huge. Just being able to have reliable shipping just opens up the hobby so much.
Yep.
Accessibility wise to people to buy and sell animals.
Agreed. Going to move to talking about diet, tech, and selling, and then we can kind of close out from there.
Yeah, sounds good.
What are so diet wise? You and I talk about our businesses. Me with my shipping, you with your diet, and we're kind of close to moving into the phase where we can test run stuff and with the general public and customers, and you've been doing a lot of research in terms of you've always had a hand in producing kind of your own product in terms of your own diet, because you're like, hey, there's got to be better options.
At least the last 5 years.
Yes, and so even when I met you, when I first started talking to you, you were already working on some stuff in terms of the diet realm, And what are some advancements from back then? So back then, I remember you guys were saying we used to feed baby food. we used
Oh
to,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, we used to feed like straight up yogurt and stuff. And then
Yeah.
there was a commercialized powder with Repashy and Pangea. And can you walk us through a little bit of the early days of what you guys did, how the feeding response was, and now we can like actually see like there's certain ingredients in certain foods and what's healthy, what's not, what holds what how things interact with each other. Like it's
Yeah.
pretty crazy now, right?
So I would say back, at least when I first started, I it's one of those things where it's like
Yeah, yeah,
my memory on timelines of things is probably not like completely perfect because I was
yeah.
also 13 years old.
Gen-
I was not an
Your mind
adult.
wasn't developed yet.
Um, I
Yeah.
think in 2005, I think the T-Rex, like 2 ounce or 3 ounce jar that was sold at Petco's existed. I think that product existed.
Okay. Okay.
So like the first Crested Gecko diet that Repashy made with T-Rex, um, that was kind of sold with Crested Geckos to Petco, kind of as this bundle deal that he talked about. How it was kind of like a, hey, we're going to make a food for these, and these things are going to be huge because it's going to be so accessible um, to the pet owner.
Yeah.
That I think that product existed, but because it was sold in such a small jar, I just feel like it's kind of it didn't get like full adoption because it was just such a small jar. So what most people were doing, at least when I started in my region, like I lived in the Midwest, and crested geckos were actually very popular in the Midwest.
Mm.
I would still say if you maybe not now, but even 3-4 years ago, I bet if you drew like a heat map of where the crested gecko breeders were, it was like primarily the Midwest.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I don't know why. It just I because if you like maybe because it was probably because of Tinley. That's honestly
Yeah.
why.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone kind of
Well,
circled around there.
Lee Watson's Animal Swap, which became All Animal Expo. That's like the longest. I think that's like the oldest reptile show in the country, and that was in
Wow.
Chicagoland area.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
there's been a history of reptile keeping. Like that's where like Brian Barczyk got his like first stuff, and like it was like the reptile industry was very early in the Midwest and in like Chicagoland area.
Mm.
So a lot of history of it there. And so what people were feeding was they're feeding different baby foods. So like you'd use like, mango baby food, and then um, you'd also put, which just sounds crazy, you put turkey baby food in it. So it's like we'd put like,
Yeah. Protein and the fruit.
yeah. So and then we would take mineral, and we'd
Yeah.
put mineral and Vital, or a calcium and D3 plus like a mineral and a
Yeah.
vitamin supplement, and we mix it into baby food and offer that in caps, and then we'd feed crickets. That was what we did. And it's so funny because I think there was like all this slander on baby food, like if you feed baby food, your gecko will die. And thinking back on it now, I'm like, I mean, if you fed only baby food and didn't do anything else, then you'd probably have issues. But that's probably where that kind of wives' tale came from. But back
Mm.
then, all of us were feeding like basically a doctored baby food mixture
That's
plus
funny.
insects.
Yeah.
And it was almost entirely crickets. I don't think anybody was feeding like
To
at
the
that point
mealworms.
roaches or mealworms or
Yeah.
superworms. It was crickets.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's kind of where we came from. And then I remember Repashy came out with a product, and I don't know if Alan answered this question, or if, I don't know what came first. If the complete came and then he split it and did the base plus fruits after, or if he
Mm.
started with the base plus different fruits and then he went to a complete. I don't. But at one point there was just like, imagine everything but the fruit.
Yeah.
And then you bought bags, like you bought like Rapashi, just mango fruit powder, and you mixed it with your base, and you kind of could make your own flavors.
Got it. Okay.
So that was, I remember buying that for a while, and I really liked that. I thought it was kind of fun,
Mm.
to be able to kind of play scientist. Was it the most nutritionally predictable thing? Probably not, but it was fun. I mean, coming from the world of mixing baby food together, it seemed pretty legit.
That's funny.
um,
Yeah.
so we did that, and then fast forward. I don't remember the date. Maybe it was like 20. Maybe it was like 2011, 2012. Pangea Forums was the largest community for crested geckos, and they were also the largest distributor for Rapashi.
Okay.
So they sold Rapashi's products, and they also were like the number one place where people talked about geckos, showed pictures of geckos, sold geckos. They had like a classifieds. Um, and then Pangea came out with their own diet, I think around that time frame. Don't quote me, plus or minus a year, probably 2011, 2012.
Mm.
Um, and then it was basically Rapashi and Pangea for a lot of years. BPZ popped in, but the availability was always kind of hit or miss. Like he'd make a bunch, sell it, and then you'd email him, and he wouldn't email you back for like months, and then it was just kind of like it wasn't a consistent availability where I feel like it got a huge foothold.
Yeah, it still seems like
So
that's the case. Like it seems like people, a couple people that still feed BPC seem to have a hard time getting the BPZ.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
So and then now you see, I mean, I think something that's really cool that I like is that now you see different producers of diet internationally, where before it was like in order to buy a gecko food you had to buy Rapashi or Pangea and get it. Even a few years ago it's like you had to buy those things in Europe or in Asia, and it was just so expensive. I would hear that from fellow breeders over in those countries where it's like, oh, you pay $100 for a bag of Pangea, I have to pay $200, or I got to pay $180 for a bag
Yeah.
because of shipping and customs and another middleman over here that's taking a cut. And so it's really cool now to see like there's two or three German gecko food brands. There's
Mm.
two or three Korean gecko food brands. There's a handful of, yeah, there's just the fact that there now is availability from other countries is super cool.
Yeah. I
So
do
they
like the
could
fact.
supply themselves,
I do like whether or not the quality is good. I do like the fact that people are beginning to move into the space to work on that and provide different options. And I feel like the general community and the hobby and people will gravitate towards one or the other, and because of various reasons. But I like that there are options. That so there, basically we're not stuck with just Rapashi or Pangea, or
Yeah.
like it opens it up. We're like, okay, there's 5 other choices, 10 other choices that you can use, and it'll work itself out.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
what I don't like is when we're stuck with like 2 or 3 options of shipping, 2 or 3 options of food, two or three
Crickets.
options of
Yeah.
crickets, and you just like,
Where it's
and
like, it's how I feel sometimes now, where it's like, well, where can I buy this thing from? I basically have to buy it from Amazon, or
yeah,
I
yeah,
have to
yeah,
buy
yeah,
it
yeah,
from, there's like two places you can buy it from.
yeah. And here's an example that like just really eats at me is Comcast Xfinity like
Oh,
has like
yeah.
a
Yeah. Just a
stranglehold on
chokehold.
my neighborhood. Like there's no fiber here. There's no AT&T. I can't get satellite. I can't get
Same with cell phones, too.
yeah,
So.
I've had multiple like local people come and try to install like things on my roof. They say, "Oh, the line of sight is off." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" So I quit Comcast. Now I'm back. I'm like, "Oh my god, I hate Comcast." Xfinity, right? I hate them, and they have a stranglehold. So the fact that there are multiple shippers now and food things options now, we can
Monopolies, I don't think are good for
hate it, man.
I
Yeah,
don't think monopolies are helpful.
yeah, I hate it. And so, like even if there's like 10, let's say there's now 10, we'll say 20. Let's say there are 20 diet people, right, AJ?
Hmm.
And people are just trying to create a business that will, do well and be successful. But I think it will sort itself out. Like the
For
bottom
sure.
people will sort itself out. They're going to go away because they're crappy diets, and the people that are on top will make better diets and improve on those things. And I think
Hmm.
it'll be better for the community. The fact is, the thing is, we just need more options of higher quality stuff.
Yeah.
Um, better customer service, better ingredients,
But
better shipping services.
that comes with capitalism too. I mean,
Yeah.
like the consumer and the consumer's desires will drive the market.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
So people that are in tune with their customers and their audience and
and make a good
provide the
product
best
for them.
service and provide the best product, I think those will rise to the top. The shortcut people won't get there. I feel like
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and you see a lot of diets, and I'm not gonna like name any
Yeah.
specific
Yeah.
diets, but you see a lot of diets that are being manufactured by people that don't breed animals, that don't really know anything about the animals or
Yeah.
breeding animals or nutrition at all. And they just kind of like put a product out because they already sell other dry good
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we already sell calcium powder, we might as well sell this. And
Yeah.
it just seems kind of thrown together. And it doesn't seem like any of those have really, nobody's adopted them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I think.
there's probably 6 or 8 of those that have been kind of like, oh, just add a line item to our 500 product catalog.
Yeah.
Just add a gecko diet in there. It doesn't seem like anyone's really buying that.
Yeah. I think
As far as the hobby, maybe it's selling to like people on Amazon that have one gecko, but
yeah
the hobby's not picking it up.
the kind of the purist or the people that are actually like pretty involved with the hobby and they know. I think people know. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's essentially kind of our market. Our people is like
Yeah,
because
more
we're in the
niche.
weeds with everybody else, and we
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, so diet choices, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll eventually have a diet episode in
Yep,
more
we
in
will.
depth,
We will.
and then
Yeah,
I think that'll be good.
we'll have a lot of diet content coming.
Yes,
I would say in the next, few
few
months
months.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, shipping as well. Like we'll have more like uh, focused talks on the shipping industry as well and kind of how I'm doing things and
Hmm.
things like that. And so I think it'll be good. So
Yeah.
stay tuned for those things. But and then a few more things to talk about, and then we'll end. But just briefly, we could talk about tech advances. We could talk about how the selling has advanced from earlier on to now.
Yeah.
What are some of the aspects of tech? And obviously, this might be a very obvious one, so we can just
I mean, right now we're on a podcast talking about geckos. That's awesome.
advancements. Yes,
Like
technology. YouTube.
this didn't exist. We're on nice cameras and we're on YouTube
Yeah,
and we're on Spotify.
you can watch us on your phone.
There's
You can watch
video
us.
on Spotify.
You can watch us while you're driving. It's crazy.
You can watch us on your refrigerator
Yeah. Oh yeah.
or on your
The
Peloton.
smart refrigerators. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think technology wise, we all like when I like back in the day, you had to spend a bunch of money on a pretty nice camera and lighting and all this different stuff. And now it's like, oh, you can use your cell phone and buy a light box on Amazon.
Yeah. Which is
And
very common. That's the
or
majority of people,
yeah,
myself
it's
included.
majority, And so
Yeah.
the barrier to entry to be able to take a picture and share kind of your pets, your hobby, or your animals that are for sale is super accessible. And you know,
Yeah.
so that and then kind of like skimming, so technology just in general, I would say mostly just like the rise of smartphones and everything has made all of this super helpful. But then kind of rolling from that into selling, from a technology standpoint, you look at something like Instagram and you look at like reels or stories or any of these things where you can just pull your phone out of your pocket. How many
Yeah.
reels that you see are just like somebody holding a gecko outside? It's like 90%, you know?
Yeah.
But people love it. It's
Yeah.
awesome and people
You know,
like it. You got that, or you can take that same phone, put it on a tripod, and go sell geckos on Palm Street.
You know, what's funny talking about
Sorry.
that is that right after this podcast, I have a
You
palm
have a palm
tree,
tree
right?
on your phone.
And so this is crazy. This is just think about it. We have a podcast right now. Right afterwards, I'm gonna run downstairs, put
And you're
on a
gonna sell
show.
geckos.
There's gonna be like 100 people, 80 to 100 people on there, and I'm gonna be selling some animals and doing another like live Q&A type of thing. Like
Yeah.
the technology is it's crazy in terms of what we're able to do. Not just I guess not just even in the gecko market,
Accessibility.
yeah,
Yeah.
not just in the reptile market, but everywhere, right?
Yeah.
The fact that we can sell so easily. You can sell people selling Labubus and all these like random things on on
You can
Palm
go on
Street.
there and buy. You can go on there and buy crystals. You can buy like quilts from a garage sale. Palm Street. You know, it's just
Right now, it's the dollar auctions, Labubu giveaway. You know, like you can go on here and you could buy anything. You know,
Palm
you can buy
Street
shoes.
started as plants, and now they're selling anything. You want to buy a Cheeto that looks like a fish? Okay, cool.
Oh man. You know what I haven't seen for a while is the pottery. Like where did all the pottery people go? There used to be a very big presence in the
The
pottery
thing is,
world.
they were so overwhelmed by all the pottery giveies, they couldn't keep up with all of the stuff that they had to put in the kiln.
That's right. Oh, here
So
it goes. I see it. There's a pottery category. There's a lot. But yeah, the point that we're trying to make is that everything is so accessible. So
yeah,
there's a ton of expos, like you said. So even if you want to do the live tactical, you could see people face to face. You can go to any expo like on any month, right? There's just something. Local
yeah.
expos, morph market.
Where I live, I think I could go to a reptile show every weekend within a 4-hour drive.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah,
Like we're
that's so
in the
crazy.
southeast, I just feel like it's just so. I mean, I could drive to Atlanta, DC, Baltimore, like anywhere I go, there's
Yeah,
a show. There's a show every weekend.
yep, which is crazy. So I mean, that plus the online stuff, you can sell your stuff on Morph Market. The shipping's accessible. Like it's just everything is like primed
Face,
for people to sell.
Facebook groups,
You know?
Instagram, you know, Palm Street, Morph Market, all these different things, and then all these places that we talk. And I'll close out on this. You know,
Yeah,
we can have some closing remarks after, but even just from a community standpoint, like thinking back to the early days where it was the only place people talked was on the Pangea forums. Pretty
mm,
much. I mean, people maybe talked on like the King Snake forums or
yeah, yeah,
the Rapashi forums, but I remember, and this is just like it's so funny because I'm like I think of myself still as the young guy in the hobby because for the longest time I got bagged on for being young. Like I was
You're
always the
13
young.
years old, kid.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
I was always the young one, and now there's so many kids in the hobby, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
You know, it's not weird to see kids come up and shop for geckos at an expo or whatever.
yeah. I love it, man.
But back
It's
then
great.
I was like so much younger than everybody else that I would just kind of get poked fun at. But
Yeah,
what was I going to say? Oh, so it makes me sound like I'm old, but I'm not. I remember when my sister called me. She was 4 years older than me, and she was in college. And it was like 2000. I forget the. It was like 2009. She goes, "Hey, this thing called Facebook just made it where people like before she had one. She's like, you had to have a college email address.
yeah.
She's like, they just made it where anybody can make one." And I go, "Oh, that's crazy." And so I made a Facebook. And then I remember like 6 months or a year later, it's like they made this thing called business pages.
Mm.
I was like, "Oh, that's." So I made my Facebook business page like right when they made them, and it was crazy. I remember, Harry, you'd think this is nuts. I remember you could post on your Facebook, like my Gecko business Facebook page, and
Yeah.
you could get like, if you had 1,000 followers, you could get like 1,000 likes on a photo
like
because they
like
actually
organic
showed,
likes.
yes, organic. Like they
Wow.
actually showed every person that followed everything you posted
Wow. Yeah.
because they didn't have ads
Yeah.
yet.
Didn't know
They didn't have
algorithms of
like
yeah.
no
Didn't add all this like
algorithm.
random crap.
So it was literally just like everybody
Yeah.
you're friends with and everybody you follow, you got everything in the feed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I remember when they turned on like monetization and you had to basically pay for views, pay for exposure on your post. it was like then you got like 5%. It literally went from like 100 to 5 overnight. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
And
I
then
remember.
it basically like killed Facebook as the place to like I don't know, to showcase your animals. And then people went to Instagram, and Instagram is very low. They don't show much either. I mean, it's not as
Instagram
bad.
used to be.
Facebook is much worse than Instagram.
Yeah, I mean
But
they own Facebook owns Instagram now, but when Instagram first came out, then you would like very similarly, you would see everybody's post at everything that they posted. They didn't. There was no. It was the real time too. I remember when they shifted. Everything was real time. They posted at 9 a.m. You see that in order of when it was posted, right?
yeah, so you can scroll down
Nowadays
and
it's
it was
like
like sequential.
you
You'll
you
see a
won't see a
post from 4 days ago.
bro,
And
like,
it'll
yeah,
say,
I would see like a friend's post for like 4 days. And I'm like, oh dang, like how did I miss all this stuff? Because you see all this other crap in there. So
yeah,
IG, whatever they're doing, obviously it's not ideal for us, but it's for
but
their
but
algorithms and sales.
the fact that we have these tools is awesome. You know,
Yes, yes, yeah.
it's could it be there was the golden era of Facebook. There was a golden era of like it's what I remember there was this era where we were doing Facebook auctions that were just absolutely just busted. They were so awesome. So you do like just like a bid and comments auction where it's like okay, it's a 24-hour auction. It was like a bid and comments auction. Dude, it was crazy. It was like really crazy. Like I
Comments
remember
in the chat in the comments you said.
yeah, just like
Uh,
and stuff would sell like 2-3 times over what it should have. It was
that's
crazy.
crazy, man.
It was
That's the
absolutely
best.
nuts. I remember
That's the best.
I won't quote the number, but I remember AC was really big into it,
Mm.
and he said on some other podcasts like the number he was doing monthly on Facebook auctions was like astronomical.
Oh my gosh,
And then they
just shut it down.
they banned animals selling on Facebook
Okay, okay,
like
yeah.
pretty much overnight, and it was just
Dang,
oh my gosh, it's crazy.
dang.
It was crazy. So,
Oh, that's funny.
but just
Yeah,
how like so right now like Palm Street's a big thing,
Palm Street's
and
big.
Morph
Yeah,
Market's a
North
big thing.
Market's big. Yeah,
Palm Street wasn't the thing a year ago.
yeah,
What's gonna be the thing a year from now?
yeah. More of these
It could be totally
live
different.
shows. I do think the
We
I
could
do
be
think the
selling on Whatnot. We could be selling, you know, we could be selling on eBay lives. We could be selling on, like there could, you know, Amazon could let us start selling. I don't know. Who
before
knows?
Palm though, you and Gabby and I think John, where you
An
started. Oh,
actual
you and
world.
Gabby started the YouTube's
Yeah.
auctions or IG auctions and then YouTube auctions. So
Yep.
you guys were doing that, and that's technology right there with the YouTube, nice,
Yeah.
super crispy cameras of seeing the animals and interacting with their customers, and then now Palm Street is just it's right here. Everything is right here on everyone's phone, so accessible, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's cool. So moral of the story, uh, the the learnings from all this is, I think sometimes people can get in their feels like, oh, things are things were better in the past, right? Or
Mm.
things were I don't know. You think it's always the grass is greener. Um, and I think looking back, this was an exercise for me when we kind of talked about this episode, an exercise for me to see like how many things I'm grateful for that have changed
Mm.
that I think have helped the hobby and have advanced the hobby
Yeah.
in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
I do think progression and advancement will shake up some of the things that we're used to, and like maybe some of the old guard won't like it. But I think having the mentality. So now this is like for me, advice to us, and just to reminder for us is like having the mindset of like things are just going to constantly change, and you just have to adapt to it. And then when you're in that mindset, you're like, oh, palm tree came, okay, let me utilize it to the best of its ability, use it for what it is. When then something else new comes, then we'll do the same thing, And I think having that mindset will always allow us to adjust and evolve in a way that adapts to the market and the community, and we can still maintain who we are in terms of like we love the animals, we love the community, we love the hobby. Now we just have different things to play with in terms of the tools, right?
Yeah, or how we connect with each other, how we connect with our customers changes.
Yeah.
and the tools that we have available to us to do that.
Yeah, so I feel like the reptile community, the hobby in general, is pretty young in terms of what it can do and what it can become. And I live in kind of this tech world in the Silicon Valley where there's so much advancement, so much innovation that you see. Kind of when I look at the reptile community, I'm like, we're still somewhat primitive in terms of what we can do.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
in terms of the technology and the things that we can do, and I'm like, man, there's so much more we can do here that I feel like will be beneficial to the hobby. So anyway, yeah, all that to say that the advancements and progressions of the hobby, it's exciting. It's very
Yeah,
exciting.
it's super exciting. And I saw a statistic recently that was they like surveyed a bunch of people on uh, it was like comparing pet ownership, like what kind of pets people own over time,
Yeah,
and reptiles is rapidly growing. Like
yeah,
every
yeah,
year, more and more people get reptiles. And I remember when even 10 years ago, when people would ask me, or it would come out that I like breed geckos or breed reptiles. It was so weird to them. They thought it was so odd. And now, when people
yeah,
find out, most people are like, "Oh, that's cool. Oh,
yeah.
my nephew has one." Like everybody knows somebody who has a crested gecko,
You're no
or
longer the
no,
weirdo basement dweller,
it's not. I mean, I am, but no.
but
um,
it's cool now.
I think it's just
Yeah,
less taboo.
yeah, I agree.
It's less like what's wrong with you? Why do you have a gecko? Where now it's like, oh, geckos are cool. Oh, I saw one on my Instagram the other day, or I saw a video about
Yeah,
it on TikTok, or, it's just, I think that social media has probably helped with that too, where the only time you would have seen or heard about a gecko would be like you had to be watching National Geographic or
yeah,
see a
yeah,
Geico commercial or go to the zoo.
yeah,
And now it's like they could just come across your Instagram or your TikTok feed.
yeah.
And so yeah, I just think that the hobby in general, the alternative pet hobby, so inverts, spiders, fish,
Aquatics.
geckos, snakes, all of those things, plant hobby. It's crazy.
Yeah,
All of
aquatics
these
hobby is
all of these
crazy.
things are just like
Yeah,
growing. even
yeah,
if even if there's times where you feel like, oh, it's hard to sell a gecko or whatever, it's like if you actually look at the market as a whole, it's growing a lot.
mm, yeah. That's super exciting.
It's just growing with sellers and buyers. So
Yeah, yeah.
with
So yeah, there's always
with
ways.
growth comes
It just
both
makes
types
it.
of
I
growth.
would just say it makes it a little bit hard to break in on the level that you might want to break in.
For
But it
sure.
just means that you just have to do the work.
Yeah.
It's really
It
it's
has become where before when I started, it was like it was a hobby that a handful of us were able to turn into a business to now it's like
yeah,
if you want it to be a business, it's going to be like any other business and any other industry,
yeah,
which takes investment, time,
yeah,
grind, and it's not easy. I mean, that's
yeah.
just the
I mean,
reality
and I'll say this: the amount of tech startups that happen here in the
that
San
fail.
Francisco Bay Area, insane. Like there's like incubators where they just have like constant flows of new startups coming in, VCs coming in, and a majority of them fail. So
And they're being pumped with money with the
yeah,
most
they're paying
talented
millions of
people.
dollars, right? Millions and millions of dollars, and then here we are, and then like in the gecko hobby, we're still somewhat, get reptile hobby, we're still somewhat new to kind of the business aspect of stuff. Like you just have to stick it out. You just have to find ways to evolve. You just have to find ways to adapt to the advancements and the progressions of the hobby,
Separate
and stick.
yourself from
Yeah,
people to make a better product,
yep,
a better experience. Product meaning whatever you do, sell
yeah,
goods,
yeah.
sell animals, sell content, whatever you're
Services, yeah,
doing. Yeah. I mean, that's just the reality is that now with the level of growth in the reptile hobby, I mean, you even see like, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but like when I went to Tinley this last time, it was crazy to see that when I walked into Tinley, the first booth you see was Palm Street. And so Palm Street put, this San Francisco-based tech startup
people complain about that.
is putting all of this money into advertisement and they're front and center at our
Yeah,
national
yeah,
trade show. What's next to them? Chewy.
Another big company.
Another multi-billion-dollar company where a year ago, neither one of them was there.
I do think that rubs some people the wrong way, though.
I know, but I guess all I'm saying is that like the reptile industry is growing, and companies outside of our niche are realizing it
yes,
and getting in on it. So
yeah, so the positive positive perspective of seeing that, some people might complain like, oh no, all these big name companies come in and whatever. Like, just look at that. There's attraction and attention to our hobby. Some people might not like that, but it's just showing that it's growing, right?
It shows that they've deemed that it is a good place to do business.
Yes.
And that
it's a viable market.
They're encouraged by our market. And so I don't know, I'm encouraged by that.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Absolutely. I think it's a good, I mean, obviously you can say like, well, you want to keep it small and kind of like small community vibes. Yes. Like, but
that still will exist though.
That
will always exist.
It'll be there, but eventually everything will kind of grow and expand, because as we educate, as we share more of our love and passions for animals, people are just naturally going to come to
be a
right?
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like I want everyone to love my animals. Let me share with them, and then not too much though. Only a couple of you guys. You can't do that. Not too many guys. Oh, Chewy's in here. Oh, Palm Street's in here. Too many guys. Back off. Here, only the three of you. Let's be selective with who we like.
We're gonna make the podcast and only let 10 people watch it.
The selective Gecko Pod. You're in. You're out.
Yeah. No, but moral of the story, just super encouraged. All this stuff kind of reflecting on past to future, or past to current, and then looking to future. What this trend has told us is that like more stuff like this will happen in the future.
Yes. Yeah.
I think the next wave we're going to see is going to be advancements in care, advancements in food, and advancements in understanding like the biology and the health of the animals and genetics. I think that like all of those things are just like prime for further understanding.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's hopefully you guys are encouraged by some of those things, and that's kind of, at least for me and AJ, that's how we see things and our perspective on things. And I think the positive outlook, the way that we adapt, and I think hopefully more people can, you don't have to be like us, but what I'm saying is hopefully people can adapt to that mindset of like, there's so much more here. Just stick it out. There's so much more here. Find ways to build the hobby, the community, and I think there's a lot of room for a lot of people. So
it's exciting. It's the most. I think when I said to you what I kind of want this episode to, the tagline to be is like, it's the most exciting time to be in the reptile hobby, I feel.
Yeah.
So
hopefully that was beneficial to you guys. So we'll close out with that. And anything else we want to say before we close for this week?
No, we'll be back.
I have a Palm Street.
We have more to say.
I have a Palm Street in 11 minutes.
You have a Palm Street in 11 minutes, so they won't be able to know that. I have a Palm Street on Tuesday, so come to mine.
Yeah, but you'll make AJ's. You won't make mine, because I have to go do Palm Street, and I'll edit and upload this today. So this will probably be out, I don't know, the weekend or Monday or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. I'll try to upload it today. So,
guys, also, if you have any thoughts, feel free to like comment or send us a DM. I'd love to hear just kind of your feedback on this as well.
Yeah, put in the chats. Put in
the comments on the YouTube
so everyone can see it. Yeah, positive or negative, we'll take it all.
And we'll respond.
Okay. So we'll respond as positively as possible.
We'll be nice. Harry might not be nice. I'll try to be nice.
All my comments are super nice. You're crapping on us? Oh, thank you for watching. Oh my gosh, yeah. So thank you guys. Appreciate you all. Check out Zero's Geckos. Check out AJD Reptiles on Palm Street, IG, and you guys know where to find us. So
episode 90.
We'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.